You're watching GTSam. I'm Sam, and if you're just joining for the segmentation of the Acura TL engine mount replacements, you're in luck. You're on the third one, and this is the easiest one. And if you're here from other two previous videos, then welcome back. So for this engine mount, this one's the only one that's on the side, and it's the passenger side. We went ahead and did the rear, we went ahead and did the front, and now we're on to the last one right over here. I'll go ahead quickly over some of the details that we need to do before starting this, just to make sure everything is safe and proper with working on getting this out. And of course, we're gonna need to jack up the engine just a little bit. In order to do that, you wanna make sure you have your jack underneath the car, and you want a block of wood between the jack and where you're gonna lift up the engine. So where you're gonna lift it up is underneath the oil pan. And so that's the safest way to do it and the most gentle as well. But I don't need to explain much more. I'll talk about things along the way. So let's just jump right into this. Okay everyone, here we are. This is the mount for the engine on the side here. As you can see, this has got all torn up, so the boot right on top here is degrading and dry rotting, everything like that. And so I actually had to jack it up, move it over because it was vibrating so much where this wear spot was on the metal, and it was just causing really weird noises when I was driving. So I thought something bad, but it wasn't. So I just moved it over, and you can see in the corner there, it's slight cracking. It's already starting to wear through again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out of there. But first, we gotta go ahead and check up the car. So let me quickly just show you what my setup looks like. The block of wood right there, and right on the oil pan itself, kind of like on the edge. I put off to the right a little bit, and then we're good to go. Let me go ahead and jack it up. And there's touching. All right, I'm good. All right, I'm gonna give the engine a little bit of height here, just a slight bit, a little pressure. All right, that's all we need. All right, so I'm going to need to take this bracket off right here on the top. So we got two bolts on the side over here, you can't see, and one in the front here. So I'm going to go with the two on top first. To make life a little simpler, we're going to move this reservoir out of the right for a power steering. Pull up, and it'll come right out of there. And then you just kind of stuff it off to the side there a little bit. We have direct access to the bolt in the front and the back. But for now, moving on, get these top bolts out. To go ahead and get started here, we're going to go ahead and lift up the jack a little bit for the engine mount here. Leave a little bit of the pressure here. Just a little bit, slightly. Alright. Now what we do is get the front bolt off of here in this mount, because if we take these two bolts off over here, and we're not going to be able to take the front one out, it's going to be all wobbly and get all messed up here. While these bolts are still in, let's go ahead and do this. So this is going to be a 17 millimeter. That's a real beefer. Alright, so for me this one's pretty tight, so I take a little bit of moving and grooving here. Alright. There we go. After all that time, got the bolt up finally. One thing I want to make sure I mention is that you don't want it to be like too high up or too low brings pressure, too high brings pressure. So we kind of want it right in the middle before you're taking out the bolts, or else it's going to just be too tight for getting everything out. Maybe not make it as easily. So just keep that in mind for all of them when you're taking them all out. So let's jump over to the 14s. There we go, got that one too. Alright, so we got these 14s out. I already got the 10 out from the back, so there we go. Then, and there's your bracket. Observe. Here we are right now. It's actually still decent, but the top boot here is actually pretty torn up. Still, we're gonna replace it because I don't want to keep it. Alright, so we got the 17s down there again. And to make sure it doesn't bend all over the place because I don't want to strip anything. I'm just gonna make this taller. There we go. Sorry for the bird in the background. There we go, number 2. There we are. success. So those were definitely tight. Make sure you have the right equipment for that, you don't break everything. So one big bolt. Ooh, grisly looking. Number 3. A little corrosion on there, so you can kind of clean them up if you want to, maybe a little WD-40. I might just do that myself, so I don't get all stuck. And now it's time for the big reveal on this mount. And there it is. Pull up, and that's out. All right, let's take a look at this. Take the top off so you can see it's all getting beat up and just mangled. Jeez, really ripped through. And then below here, surprisingly, it's okay. It's pretty loose. Let me move it around or anything like that. Let me get the other one to compare. Okay, so here's the new one. So yeah, this one has a little more resistance, but not too much. But definitely a lot better. I think this one is just probably on its way out. Yeah, I see this thing's in another place. Probably if I give it a little tug. Another thing to note on these do not have a hydraulic hose going to them. It's just flat bottom. It's kind of squishy, so you just gotta put it in place. All right, guys, this is it. This is the final frontier for putting this all back together. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure this label is facing out towards the engine. I don't know if it really matters, but you know, just as long as everything lines up. I'll put that in there. Now with my bolts, I went ahead, gave them a little shining up here, wire brush and a little WD-40 to make things a little bit easier, because you know, down there, all kinds of water and junk gets on these bolts. So I'm gonna try and keep them as good as possible, and so I don't get stuck in there if I ever have to take these out again. I'm just gonna put these in place by hand first, as usual. Alright, don't make it too snug because we gotta line everything up still with all the other brackets and bolts. Make sure everything goes in nice and easy. So, go and take this. Alright, make sure it lines up. There we go. Looking pretty good. Let's just take our big bolt from that again. There we go. Inch 17 right here. Make sure that goes in. Yeah, this thing's a little messed up with corrosion. Let me go ahead and clean that up too. Alright, cleaned up. Let's try this again. Oh yeah, that's a little better. Okay, we'll let that kind of hang out there for right now. We gotta put the other bolts in because, you know, we gotta make sure the thing stays stationary. Alright, everything's all just kind of loose still. Start putting everything by hand. Alright, so everything is in. I'm going to say right now we go ahead and do the base mount bolts for now. Snug these up. Alright. You know the drill. Alright, make sure it's nice and tight. Alright. Those are definitely tight in there. Back to that 17 millimeter. I'm going to tighten that up. Alright, so this bolt's nice and snug in there. It's not tight, so we're going to go ahead and make sure the other ones are all tightened down on top here too first. And again, you don't need to lift up the engine too much. I didn't lift it up very much at all. So that was really good. Just getting this done by hand quick. Got 14 going again. Get our 17 going here again. Around here. Make sure this is tightened. Nope. Okay. Just gonna run it. Use a wrench. Alright. Make sure that's nice and tightened, guys. Don't want that going anywhere. Yep. Looks pretty darn good. All right, tighten these down. And don't forget about your 10mm bolt for the grounding wire. Okay, let's let the engine down. And the engine all the way down. Okay, didn't do much of that. Well, and there it is. Our new engine mount is installed. We're complete. All right, we just gotta clean up here quick, and nothing too big deal. Just take this, slide it back in this holster on the side. There we go. That's in. Everything else is in place, and everything else looks good. It's out of the way. Oops, almost can't forget these. And it's finished. The car's back together, the mounts are all in, the covers are all on, the jack's out of the way, and we're complete. I told you that'd be a quick one. So guys, what do you think about this 3-part segmentation series on this Acura TL engine mounts? Do you like it? Would you do something different? Do you have any tips and tricks you want to share? Or is there any other videos that you want to see for the Acura TL for repairs that you'd want me to try and do for you guys as well? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to read them and I'd love to respond to them as well. If you have any trouble with it also, just let me know and respond when I can. But if you did like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and then make sure you also subscribe down below as well for more videos that will be coming out in the near future with the TL, with my Honda Civic also. But everyone, thanks so much for supporting me and watching these videos and sticking around to the end. I hope these helped. And as always, this is GTSam, and I'll catch you next time.